So the internet wins again. I hope all of you are doing very well. I'm Samcrac, and behind me is the Salvage Audi RS7, and actually something else I just got back from a body shop. That is my rebuilt Corvette Grand Sport. Starting to look a little bit like a shady used car lot around here because all the cars are rebuilt. That's my rebuilt Ford Fiesta ST, my daily driver. Behind it is the Ford Focus RS. Far away in the distance, even further in the distance over there is the second pizza car, and behind it is a mystery project. You guys can probably see the outline of a car back there, or maybe I'll just rebuild the hay bale or the tree, but guess in the comment section below, what car do you think that is in the distance right there? For the followers of the channel, they know that I took this C6 Corvette back to a body shop because that front light wasn't really aligning very well with the fender and the bumper and all that. That's been situated pretty well, but in the process, the guy at the body shop took the hood off the car when he put it back on. Well, you could see here, this gap is really tiny here, and then it gets bigger over here, and then in between here I screwed up and I painted the gasket white. So I'm probably just gonna buy a new gasket, but this hood just needs to be brought from here. Okay, imagine it here, and it needs to just be brought like a little bit that way. Just a little bit, up and over, it'll be good to go. Today's not about the Corvette or any of those other cars. Today is about the Audi RS7. I'm gonna give in and specifically tell you exactly how much I won this car for at auction and how much I've spent on it to date, including parts, price costs, like these expensive headlights that I mentioned before, and labor costs, like the cost to get the hood reworked and finished, as well as that rear end. All right, let's start things off with the winning bid on the RS7. I won this car for $24,300. That is autoauctions.io verified, and in case you don't believe me, or you can just click the link on the description box below, it will take you exactly to the listing for this car with the winning bid on. Now, as most of you guys know, this car was rear-ended and then pushed into the car in front of it, slightly damaging a few of the front components. Now, I'm gonna get to the paint and body work that was done on the hood last because, well, that was done with a few other things in the rear of the car, and I wanna give you that total together. But basically, this front hood right in the front corner here was bent down a little bit. That was repaired, and then the hood itself was repainted. This front crash bar was completely off the car when I bought it, and it didn't come inside with the spare parts. So I had to buy this at $80 used online. Now, if we go inside here, you can see the top of the AC condenser. You can also see how dirty the top of the AC condenser is, and that's because, well, this is original. This wasn't replaced, and it didn't have to be replaced. But behind it is a brand new OE radiator that I got from FCP Eurocom. The one that came on the car had a slight dent on it. It wasn't leaking fluid or anything like that, but of course on a car like this, you want everything operating properly. I gotta give a huge thanks and shout out to FCP Eurocom because not only did they provide me with that radiator, but they also provide me with, under here, if you can see these modules, there's actually 3 of them in each headlight. So that's 6 headlight modules in the radiator. Now check out like this intercooler right here. This has an Audi mark on it because it came with the car. You might not find an Audi mark on this Hella radiator, but this is an original equipment part. Audi orders parts like this radiator directly from Hella. FCP Euro makes it easy for you to find an OE or OEM part for your car without that dealer markup. And on top of it, they have an insane lifetime replacement guarantee. This isn't a standard warranty. This is a lifetime replacement guarantee on absolutely everything they sell. Don't believe me? Check out the link in the description box below and read all about it. You can replace anything for free at the end of its life cycle. Did I mention they sell oil filters, transmission fluid, coolant, brake pads, brake rotors, and pretty much anything for any European car? So huge thanks to FCPEuro.com. I'm gonna link them in the description box below. If you're doing any sort of work on any European cars, I highly suggest you check them out. Now, talking about different quality parts, instead of going through the back because I am really afraid of this trunk falling at any time, I'm going to crawl in the back here and we're going to mess with that aftermarket battery terminal piece that I bought. All right, I'm pretty scrunched back here, but what we need to work on is this battery terminal right here. In one of the previous videos I had explained that this battery terminal runs about $300 at the Audi dealership, and in this battery terminal is a fuse that looks just like this one. Now this is a $15-ish one that I bought aftermarket. Again, Audi doesn't sell just this, they sell the entire terminal. I have an aftermarket fuse already installed in here and it didn't work. So I'm giving it one last shot before I give up and I order the whole entire $300 piece here. This one actually looks a bit different and has a few different markings than the one that's in here now. We can just cross our fingers because this one I think cost 11 or 12 bucks and this one was 14 or 15 bucks. Let's hope that that few extra dollars works out for us. Boy, am I relieved to be out of the back there. So we've got everything hooked up. And again, I don't want this thing collapsing on me. So let me zoom in right there. That nut with this washer on it right there. Power to it, I believe, is the starter. And we have that brand new fuse. That is an aftermarket fuse. It was very, very cheap, replacing our other cheap one that didn't work. So let's just hop in and see what happens. All right, first good sign is that our electronics powered up. That means everything's wired in the correct fashion. All right, foot is on the brake. Key is right here. Push to start. Let's cross our fingers. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I'm deaf. I can't hear anything anymore. That's definitely not a good noise, especially with a car that has an air suspension. So that's really good news, and that saves us a ton of money. Now, in normal situations, I'd be able to return this. I spent, like I said, I think 11 or 12 bucks on this. I spent 15 on the new one. So just round everything up here. We'll say that we spent $30 on these battery fuses unnecessarily when we really only needed to spend 15, but we sure as heck didn't spend 300. So we're still winning. We'll finish up the front end components by totaling up the headlight costs, and then we'll move to all the repairs and replacement parts in the rear. So the only other thing I've bought thus far in the front end are these two headlights. Now these headlights from Audi retail for $3,000 a piece bare. That's without those modules I showed you that live underneath the headlights. These are a special LED headlight with LED daytime running lights. Completely assembled, they're closer to $5,000. I lucked out. I got each side for between $250 and $300. Again, we're gonna round up on both of them and say 600 bucks for the pair. On our way to the rear of the car, of course, these are something that you guys have mentioned countless amount of times in the comment section. These are custom wheels. These are definitely not the stock wheels that come on this car. These are 21-inch HRE performance wheels. These wheels are very, very expensive, and they're regarded as one of the best manufacturers of wheels in the world. If you weren't convinced that $24,300 was a good price for this car in the condition it came in, could I convince you if I told you that these wheels cost over $10,000 for the set when they were new and would still sell used for likely around $5,000 to $7,000? All right, let's quickly break down exactly what I had to replace on the rear end of the car, because obviously that's where all the damage was. I already showed you guys previously the repair that was done inside here. That also has to do with the body work. I bought just this rear bumper, which came as an entire assembly. So every single sensor you see here, all the way down, these exhaust tips that are just tips, I can actually touch them right now, even though the car was on, they were cold. They don't connect to the exhaust pipes. This valance here, and these reflectors. So everything that came in the bumper came perfect, came mint, and came in gray. The only problem is the gray that it came with. It was the same color. It's Daytona gray metallic, but it came in a matte Daytona gray metallic. So the body shop actually did do a really quick coat of Daytona gray pearl over it with a clear coat so it matches the rest. And you can see, I mean, the match job is spot on. So that is the only piece really in the rear I bought so far, with the exception of that rear trunk trim. These taillights came with the car. The spoiler that you see up there, it actually separates. It's a separate piece. The inner taillights came with the car. And right here, I hope you guys can see that, This is the only thing that was painted on the rear besides the bumper. This is all factory paint right here. This is the only piece that was painted because it was a little bit dented up right here from the accident, and that's been completely repaired. The rear bumper, I feel like I completely stole. I paid only $800 for the assembly, which if you had to actually piece and part all the sensors, the turn signals, the bumper itself, the valance, you'd be talking thousands of dollars. So $800 for that. I paid the body shop for labor and material, so that'd be your paint, your clear, any sort of stuff they needed to prep, and also just the work to be done on the hood, on the front end, and on the rear here, $1,200. So add another $2,000 to the tab. At this point, I've pretty much told you everything that I've spent on the car. So let's pop some numbers up right here, and we're just gonna break things down in a couple of categories. The car, $24,300. Of course, there's auction fees. The car total was $25,150 just by itself. The next category is what I'm gonna call shipping and logistics. Remember the story of the runaway delivery driver? Well, his fee was $600. And then I'm gonna throw in another $150 just to make things easy. The U-Haul was like $60. I borrowed the truck, put gas and all that sort of stuff. So now we're at a grand total of $26,000. Body work, I told you, was $1,200. And parts costs, well, whatever they were, I'm gonna total them up. The only part I didn't show you that I did buy and that's installed in the car is the crash bar that is behind the bumper. You can't see it because it's behind the bumper. I paid another $80 for that. So right here on the screen should be a number that is $29,000 and change, right under 30 grand so far for an RS7 that looks, well, somewhat incomplete, but that's all right because I kind of know what I'm up against and what I'm missing, and I'm gonna go through everything right now. These rear trim pieces for the interior, those are about $100 a piece. I actually have those on order, and I ordered them used. They're much more expensive new, so add another couple $100 there. I have the trunk liner, I have the piece that holds the battery and that air tank together. I need to get these seat belts repaired. I don't want to put a price on seat belts yet because if they can be repaired, it's substantially cheaper than replacing them. Also in the back, I went and hooked up these shocks really quick, really easy, and well, now the trunk is stuck open. Here's the button that should open and close the trunk, and yeah, it makes that noise. So whatever the heck that is, we got to figure it out. There might be some sensors that plug in here that might be missing, and that would be an unknown cost right now. There's a few things unplugged. There's this right here. So I'm hoping by the time these trim pieces come, maybe there's some buttons in them and it will tell me exactly what goes where. This button was actually located in the trim piece I'd already purchased. In the rear here, I think I do have a trim piece that goes over this. There's another one that goes right here that's made out of like a stainless steel looking material. They sell those used online, about $75 a piece. Now going into the interior, this car is missing bolsters on each side. Those were completely tossed out, and I've priced those out, again, used to be about $100 a piece. Like I showed you before, the front bumper is complete. It's got the camera, it's got all the expensive components, so we should be good to go. One thing that is missing on the front end are the wheel liners on each side. Wait, let me make sure. Yeah, they're definitely missing on both sides, so I'm gonna need new wheel liners. I'd calculate 2 wheel liners at about $200 a piece. That's probably $400. And then there's a splash shield, which I'm guessing used would be anywhere from $150 to $200. A little bit earlier, I showed you when I shut the car off, this rear air shock seems to be leaking now. Whether it's a loose line or a disconnected line or a damaged line, we can only cross our fingers that it's the line and not the shock, because if it's the line and not the shock, it's gonna be a lot cheaper of a fix. Now underneath the hood, 2 things I know I'm missing. There's a cowl that goes over the top here, then there's another cowl that goes over here covering both of the headlights. Last, but definitely not least, something I think you guys will be most interested in is if I could remove this engine cover. Here's our 2 turbochargers. I'm pretty sure that those are fine. I'm hoping they are. But here's our turbocharger downpipes. And then underneath here, it's very difficult to see. I don't think you can see it at all. Those downpipes connect to absolutely nothing. These are the only exhaust pipes that came with the RS7. I'm pretty sure that these are the secondary cat pipes. Those 2 pipes that I just showed you would connect to the factory downpipe and then run probably to right about here. And then that connects to one massive factory dual exhaust pipe that runs the length of the car all the way to the back of the back bumper here. Now, when I bid on the car, I expected the mufflers in the rear to be damaged, but when I got the car and there was no pipes whatsoever underneath, I was convinced that getting a factory exhaust for this car would be not only the toughest thing to get, but the most expensive. The toughest because a lot of these parts that I'm ordering, they come from other states. I order them online to save a lot of money. Now, I was super lucky because I found somebody with a factory exhaust strip. They actually kind of found me, and you're not gonna believe who I ended up buying a factory exhaust from. I'll be giving you the story on that factory exhaust when we actually go to install the exhaust. But the most ironic part about that factory exhaust is we're not even gonna be using it on this car. We're gonna be installing an Army Tricks exhaust on this car. That's right, Army Tricks reached out to me and they want to put their valved exhaust system on this RS7. I am so excited for that because it sounds absolutely amazing. So I won't be 100% sure until this car is complete, but at this point I'm expecting the RS7 build to come in between 30 and 35,000, right in the middle somewhere in there. And if it does, that'll mean that we saved right around 50% off a clean title, clean example counterpart, and that is well worth the effort if you can save somewhere around the ballpark of almost $30,000 rebuilding a car like an Audi RS7. This Audi RS7 build and all the builds on this channel couldn't be done without the support of you guys at home. I really, really appreciate you watching, and also the support of all of our sponsors. I really appreciate each and every one of them, and hope you guys don't mind whenever I do promote a service or a product, because it really does help me bring quality car content to you guys, like building this Audi RS7. I got to give one more huge thanks to FCP Eurocom for sending me the parts I need to rebuild this Audi RS7. I really encourage you guys check them out, and they're absolutely insane lifetime guarantee replacement policy. Check it out in the description box below, as well as all my contact information, my email, Instagram, also P.O. Box. You can find it all down there in the description box. Guys, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. Until next time, I'll catch you very soon.